What's going on, everybody, over here on Halo Zone? Ditty here, stepping in for Tall Chief today on Halo 4 In Depth, and I'm going to be covering a bunch of new, not a bunch, just a couple different Halo 4 topics that were just recently released this past week. I'm going to briefly overview the GameInformer stuff real fast, just so you can guys get a refresher on that. So, we know that Covenant's back in the beginning of the campaign. We don't know why they're fighting the Master Chief again, but we do know that they're back. But we also know that they're not going to be the main enemy. That's been confirmed. They're introducing a new species, entirely different species, into the Halo 4 franchise, or Halo universe, I guess. And then we also know that the setting of the game is going to be on a shield world, which is basically this Dyson sphere protecting the planet from the devastating effects of the Halo weapons. So it's most likely going to be on a Forerunner planet with all the architecture and everything, so maybe the enemies are going to be Forerunners, maybe the Forerunners will be our allies, we don't know yet. We also know that there's no firefight. They're introducing this new game mode called Spartan Ops. It's a story-driven, objective-based, additional cooperative style gameplay. So maybe 4 people co-op, story-driven, new stories every single week, kind of like a TV series. We have a new episode every week that progresses the story throughout the season. That's what Spartan Ops is going to be. So for those of you who really want a more in-depth storyline, this is what it's going to be. It's not going to be straight from the campaign, but it is going to be relative to the campaign somewhat. That is confirmed. So for those of you looking for a more in-depth storyline, that's going to be the perfect thing for you guys. And I really think it's a really nice additional element that they're adding in. Also, in terms of just, gameplay mechanics, the sprint is now a default armor ability, but we are going to be able to unlock different abilities as we rank up. So you'll be able to add a jetpack onto that sprint, or gravity boost, whatever. Hologram, what's the other one? Active camo, and the Forerunner vision, which is what I'm going to talk about next. Forerunner vision, it's a new armor ability they're adding. It's a brief thermal vision that allows you to see through walls. This kind of tells me that's similar to the Gotham City Imposters targeting goggles. You guys can check that out right now on the screen. It's just, they're only highlighted for a brief amount of time, and they're not highlighted until their death. So I don't think it's going to be that overpowered, but we'll wait and see what happens. We also know that primary and secondary weapons are now customizable through your loadouts, and in terms of games, instant respawns, randomized yet predictable weapon drops. You can see right here Frank O'Connor explaining the randomized weapon drops that, they're going to be predictable, going to shift gameplay around. So, not that big of a deal. So, moving on to some new information that was released this past Wednesday. The composer for the Halo 4 is Neil Davidge. He did the soundtrack for the movie Clash of the Titans, so if you've seen that movie and like the music, there you go. Now, from what I've heard, it's a more cinematic and majestic sound, which is exactly what Halo 4 is going to be. It's what all the Halos have been. They're really awesome, really powerful, really emotional. And what Neil Davidge does is he mixes electrical genres with the classical sounds, and it brings a nice edge to the music. And as a musician myself, I kind of really like what I've heard so far. You can click the link down below to hear those samples, and I'll give you a brief little second right here. Check that out. The last thing I want to talk about was confirmed on Friday. Flood will not be making a return in the form of an enemy. You can see a forum post, Frank O'Connor. He says there will be no Flood attacking us. We will not be fighting the Flood. You gotta listen to the wording there. We're not going to be fighting the Flood, but does that mean they're going to make some type of presence? We don't know yet, so at least we're not going to be fighting Flood. I mean, I think a lot of people disliked them than liked them, so that's good news to hear, and that's all I have for you guys today, and I'll catch you guys later. Keep it real.